And your voice, your vote 2022. Tomorrow's election results will shape the next 2 years for our country.
Tonight, let's talk to ABC 17's Megan Drakis, who's the only Columbia reporter covering the midterm elections live from Washington, D.C. Megan, you dug into the balance of power on both the state and national levels and how those results could affect us moving forward.
Marissa and Lucas, some hot topics for voters coming out to the polls this election is inflation, crime rates, and abortion rights. And depending on who actually comes, what type of voters come to the polls, it could ultimately choose and determine our balance of power in the nation.
This year, 36 states are electing new governors and 34 states will be electing senators. Some of those competitive Senate races include Arizona, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada.
Voters turn out on the Democratic side, particularly younger voters, which would swing a lot of those seats their direction.
Currently, the U.S. Senate stands tied at 50-50 with Vice President Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote. Generally, in the midterms, the party that doesn't control the presidency tends to gain more power in Congress, which in this election points to the Republican Party gaining power. An MU political science professor, Peveril Squires, says that influence has grown in part due to former President Donald Trump.
He has been influential in getting some candidates on the ballot in primaries around the country. And whether those were the best choices those Republican voters might have made is up for debate, and we'll see what the decision looks like when the results come in.
Senator Roy Blunt shared his thoughts with me on where he thinks the balance of power might stand after the election.
Well, I think the Senate's going to be narrowly divided, and one of the things you'll be looking at and the whole country will be looking at a month from now is what's happened with a likely shift in the House to Republicans.
If that shift happens, Senator Blunt says it could change the working environment.
President Biden, when he was running, wanted to talk constantly about the ability to work together. I think this will create an environment where some of those working together skills will be used in a way that they clearly haven't been used the first 2 years.
Senator Blunt's seat is open this election and will likely go to either Democratic candidate Trudy Busch Valentine or Republican State Attorney General Eric Schmitt. Former President Trump has not only influenced voters on the national level, but also a bit closer to home by showing support for Eric in the August election.
No, he has been able to hold on to maybe up to a third of Republican voters, which gives him a strong base within the party, and particularly in party primaries that can be decisive.
Squire walked me through his predictions for the expected House votes in Missouri, which falls 6-2 Republicans. He told me the one district that could possibly flip is the 2nd district outside St. Louis.
That was the district that a lot of Republicans were trying to get redrawn to protect it a little bit. Under the right circumstances, that can be a competitive district, but it's probably the one that will be the closest of all of the state's districts.
And Marissa and Lucas, President Joe Biden just about 2 weeks ago tweeted out that if voters elect 2 more Democratic senators and keep control of the House, that the first bill he would send to Congress would be to codify Roe v. Wade. But some states are up for debate on whether they'll go to Republican or Democratic candidates for the U.S. Senate, so that could prove to be challenging for the Democratic Party.
And Megan, you're going to stay in Washington, D.C. You'll be joining us live tomorrow. What are some of the few key U.S. Senate races that you're going to be watching tomorrow?
Yeah, Marissa, like I just mentioned, there are a handful of states that we're going to be closely watching tomorrow as those results are piling in. Now, one notable one is the Pennsylvania Senate race, which includes Democratic candidate John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz. Now, according to the latest prediction on 538, two are extremely close, with only being 0.3 of a point away from each other, with Oz leading that poll. Oz has actually been endorsed by former President Trump, and Oprah recently endorsed Fetterman, even after Dr. Oz became a household name from being on Oprah's show for years. Another race that we want to look at is in Georgia with Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. Walker is a former running back for the NFL and played for 12 seasons, while Warnock serves as a pastor and has a background in politics. 538 says Walker currently leads by just a little less than a point to Warnock. And Marissa, Pennsylvania and Georgia aren't the only Senate races that we're going to be keeping our eye on. We're also going to be watching races in Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Reporting live in Washington, D.C., Megan Drakis, ABC 17 News.
All states that had a major impact in the 2020 presidential election. Megan, thank you. Typically, turnout for the midterm election is lower than the general election. Now, in 2018, the Secretary of State's office reported a voter turnout of 56% for Boone, 59% for Callaway, and 62% for Cole County.